Did you burn some meatloaf recently?
I can't comment on that. I'm too busy counting F words.
Johnny, why don't you roast your marshmallows? Because Uncle Thomas keeps putting glue in the fire.
I apologize in advance.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Mazel mazel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us. Our last episode, we did a whole thing on John F. Kennedy and his assassination. We wanted to give a little update because recently Trump has released a large amount of documents and videos and different things related to the assassination that was not previously released. So the week of March 17th, about 63,000 pages of records were released. And some of the records released were not related to the assassination directly, but rather dealt with a lot of the covert CIA operations in Cuba and just a lot of the different things that the CIA and different intelligence agencies do to collect data all around the world. Unfortunately, none of the information that was released, and this is supposedly all of the data, did not change the conclusion that Oswald was the lone gunman on November 22nd, 1963 in Dallas.
At all. And wasn't there some lady that was working for the Trump administration? She made it clear there was a second gunman. And now they're like, well, we can't really confirm and blah, blah, blah.
And unfortunately, as far as I know now at this point, we have 6 million total pages of records, photos, video recordings related to this assassination. That is a lot of stuff. I don't know if there's anything left to release.
Who wrote this? J.R. Tolkien? Who the fuck? How many fucking pages are we going to go through?
Yes, absolutely. So there are indications, though, in these new documents that were released that the CIA and FBI did know of Oswald's activities before the assassination, which we sort of hit on in our previous episode, that, they were aware of this guy. He defected to Russia. He was down in Mexico making all these American statements. And the CIA and FBI did literally nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. So some experts have stated that the U.S. government may have kept this information from the public just to basically hide the fact that these intelligence agencies were incompetent or just straight up fucking lazy.
Very lazy and incompetent. You're right. Because they know Oswald talks about killing the president. They know Oswald is going to all these countries that hate us.
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying to get passports to live there.
Yeah.
They know all about it, and they know he's going to be in fucking Dealey Plaza because he works at that book depository.
Right on the same fucking street.
And nothing. They don't look into it. They don't monitor him. They don't have one guy. Just one guy. Hey, check this guy out the whole time.
And it's interesting, too, because in these documents, after the Oswald went to Mexico City and the defection to the Soviet Union once he returned to the United States, there's memos in these documents that state that the CIA had him under what they called aggressive surveillance. So they were watching this guy. And they didn't do anything,
They probably did something. They probably talked to him and said, hey, make sure you're on the 6th floor. Make sure you got enough bullets at Lee. All right? And make sure you run down these steps, and we're going to follow you this way. And oh, yeah.
And also, according to some of the documents, there's reason to believe that he openly talked about killing Kennedy when he was in Mexico, and that people, including CIA operatives, heard him say this shit. So, why they didn't do anything about it, why they didn't detain him or question him or something, is definitely, interesting. And it sort of sheds a little bit more insight onto maybe the CIA did have something to do with this.
Oh, yeah. They helped him along the whole way. And that's why there's a second gunman in case he wasn't good enough with his little shitty Red Ryder BB gun fucking thing he had.
Right. So in October of 1975, so this is obviously after Kennedy has been killed, there were some senators that were investigating what the CIA knew about Oswald. And in one of these memos that were released, it stated that the CIA was, quote, not forthcoming with their information. So whether they're trying to hide their incompetence or whether they were behind the whole damn thing is an interesting thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
a version of a different memo that was released actually in 2023, but it had a lot of information redacted, which included the name of a CIA informant that was assigned to Oswald in Mexico, as well as the identity of someone behind the penetration of the Cuban embassy that was in Mexico. So the latest version that just came out actually indicated that the source was the Mexican president. He was not the president at the time, but he was elected in 1975. It was Luis Echeverria Alvarez, and he died in 2022. And the Mexican government itself were the ones that penetrated the Cuban embassy. So it's just sort of doesn't really have a lot to do with the assassination, but it's sort of just interesting the process that we go through to gather intelligence on our enemies.
Yep.
There were also some copies of LBJ's presidential daily checklist, which probably included like penis enlargement procedures or something.
Yes. It also said kill Kennedy. Yep.
Right, yeah.
Both of them.
These checklists that were included in this recent document dump included highly sensitive foreign intelligence in the days after Kennedy's assassination. And it's actually stated that some of this information that's been released is some of the most detailed information of a day-to-day life of a president that we've ever really been aware of, which is kind of interesting. There was also some information in there that there were operatives in Cuba definitely trying to overthrow, the Fidel Castro regime. Biggest sort of takeaway from all this, like we stated in the previous episode, is that the CIA and the FBI knew of Oswald. They knew what he was saying, what he was doing, what he was potentially capable of, and didn't really do shit about it. They didn't act on any of the information in their own files. So
Nope.
there it is. Now we're going to get into a guy completely unrelated. Hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
Today we are going to be talking about serial arsonist and chronic masturbator Thomas Sweatt. He was convicted of over 350 fires in and around the Washington, D.C. and Maryland areas. The majority of them occurred between the years of 2003 and 2004. It is thought that he set over 350 fires. Sweatt admitted to setting fires for over 30 years. He is currently in prison, and his fires did kill multiple people. Investigators were able to close 353 cases with the confessions that Sweatt would eventually give.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You said earlier, if this guy had like a quota, if like the people working in the department had a quota to meet,
Yeah.
jackpot.
Yeah. 353 cases closed, boys. Taking a long lunch. The methods that Sweatt used, his psychological profile, he was attracted to men in uniform, especially. And what he would do is he would see an attractive man and he would follow him home. Instead of speaking, though, to the object of his affections, Sweatt would set fire to the man's house or vehicle. So that's just like all my ex-girlfriends.
Yes. He'd follow these men home and burn their lives down.
Yeah. He's like, I like you so much, I'm going to burn your house down.
There's got to be a little Kardashian blood in him somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, as I stated in the beginning, chronic masturbator, he was aroused by fires. And he would often do this after he set the blaze and was watching it. At one point when he was being interviewed by police giving his confessions, he just whipped it out and started just yanking on it right there in the police station.
Yes.
God damn.
This is the last person you want at a fucking like bonfire.
Yeah. He's like, what's Thomas doing?
Yes.
Oh, he's just jerking off.
Johnny, why don't you roast your marshmallows? Because Uncle Thomas keeps putting glue in the fire. It's like,
The sparks make me horny.
so gross.
So yeah, he did that while being interviewed by the police. In his fire making, he used a similar device each time he set a fire. He would take a milk jug and he would fill it with gasoline and stick a piece of cloth in it, and that served as the wick, and he would just light that. It would take a couple minutes to burn the cloth down, and it would make an explosion, cause a fire. Pretty basic, but it gets the job done.
You wonder if you ever used like a sock that he went to town on with,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't fucking light.
Yeah. He's like, why won't this thing fucking light?
That's crazy.
It's all crusty and like, what's that smell?
I read a story where his undoing, where they kind of caught him, was he was sitting on somebody's fucking porch for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Had the jug, the sock, everything ready, and these kids came home. They're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he had to play it cool, like, "Oh, I guess this is the wrong house." And they're like, "We never even heard of the person you're looking for." So they followed him all the way around the block and told their parents, and they stayed up all night. And that's kind of how they got the sketch of who this guy looks like.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So in 2003, a series of arson fires occurred in Washington, D.C. and the Prince George County, Maryland. Sweatt was a fry cook and later manager of a local Washington fast food restaurant. And he was linked to these fires through DNA evidence that was found at 2 of the scenes, skin cells on a pair of pants, and DNA found from a single strand of hair that all matched his genetic profile. So during this time, Sweatt was captured on a Marine Corps security camera that identified his vehicle at the scene of a car fire near the Marine Corps barracks there in Washington. Sweatt was obsessed with anybody in uniform, and he was actually sexually fascinated by men in uniform. He had been rejected for enlistment in the Navy back in the 1970s. So yeah, the number of fires that he likely set is more than he was charged with and confessed to. It's, largely thought.
I wonder if he watches gay porn that fixates on the stuff. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Inside a Few Good Men, or An Officer, a Gentleman, and a Ball Gag.
Yeah. Forrest Hump.
Yes. Some nasty stuff like that.
Yeah. So the ATF went to extensive means to find Sweatt, but they were largely unsuccessful. Here's one of the techniques that they tried to use to catch him. At one of the fire scenes, the ATF's agents found a black plastic bag. They found that the bag read "Made in China" for the Cornelius Shopping Bag Company. So what these ATF agents did was they went to local stores that were in the area of where the fire was, and they affixed a fireproof stainless steel chip to the bags, and an agent drove to each store daily to track the usage of the bags. Using the store's security camera, they could trace the chip to the person who obtained the bag, and after the fire chip, it would remain intact after if it wasn't a fire, and hopefully generate them a lead. In August of 2005, there was 2 fatal arson cases in the District of Columbia that were closed with the arrest of Sweatt. He was formally charged in both cases with second-degree murder while armed. The first offense occurred in February of 2002. Police received a dispatch for a house fire, and once on the scene, officers located 93-year-old Annie Brown. She was in pretty bad shape. They transported her to a local hospital, and she was pronounced dead due to smoke inhalation. That was the homicide. The second incident occurred in June of 2003, where firefighters responded to a fire, and after extinguishing the blaze, they found another older lady, 85-year-old Lou Edna Jones, inside, and she was transported to a local hospital and also pronounced dead. And, yeah.
This guy would just get off on it. Like, I read that he would park outside of these homes that are on fire and watch people just scream and yell for help. Dick in hand, just loving life.
Yeah, just pounded it.
Inside, he said to himself, he said, I had a feeling I could help them, but I never did help them.
Yeah.
So, what the heck?
Yeah, he was a piece of shit, weird dude.
He was a weird fucker.
Yeah. So the story of Sweatt has been featured on several television shows such as Investigation Discovery and Forensic Files. It was actually stated that Sweatt revealed his motives for his crimes to police, but in exchange for his confessions, he asked that the motive remain secret. So a lot of what we know can only be sort of theorized and taken from some interviews and different things. But the main motive, I don't know. We don't know. Probably just wanted to set things on fire and jerk off in his car.
Yeah.
That was probably his main motive.
That's horrible.
Yeah. The only things that were revealed in the episode were that he had set fires to silence voices in his head and to relieve stress. The real motive is said to be highly sexual in nature, as we said. He did get sexual gratification from setting the fires. This is a condition known as pyrophilia. So Sweatt pleaded guilty to various counts, such as possession of destructive devices, destruction of buildings by fire resulting in personal injury, possession of destructive devices in the furtherance of a crime of violence, and first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and second-degree murder. And all of this resulted in a mandatory life sentence.
He's still alive.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's still alive.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
I would make these prisoners dress up as Smokey the Bear and just at random times at night and fill his ass with fire, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, only you can prevent prison rape.
Yes. I would
Their
not
ass.
let him off the hook that easy at all.
Right in their prison wallets.
Yup.
In January of 1985, Sweatt finished a shift as a fry cook at a fast food restaurant and followed a male stranger to his house whom he had found attractive. And Sweatt admitted he actually had a desire to meet him. So Sweatt went home, and then later that night, after he finished his shift at the Roy Rogers slanging some chicken and burgers, he returned to this man's house with a 2-liter of soda filled with gasoline and threw it at the motherfucker's house. This is another case where people died in fires that he set. From the front porch of the stranger's house, he poured gasoline under the door and lit it. And on the second floor of the house, the stranger, Roy Pickett, and his wife, Bessie Mae Duncan, and daughter and stepdaughter were all sleeping. His son and stepson were in the basement, and they were unharmed. The others suffered severe injuries, and Bessie Mae was killed. Roy Pickett died from his injuries in March of 1985. The official report at the time was actually mistakenly blamed on a cigarette butt.
They're always going after the cigarette companies.
They
for
are.
anything.
So although Sweatt confessed to setting this fire, it was never added to the charges that he was initially given per a Washington Post newspaper article. And this confession was made in 2007, so after he'd already been incarcerated and sentenced and everything. So unfortunately, those people died, and there wasn't anything added to his sentence. Not that anything needed to be added because he was in there for life.
You wonder if they give him prison food and it's like too hot and he burns his tongue and he gets all pissed.
Yeah,
Or if he just goes to town on himself.
yeah, he just gets a raging hard on when he does.
Pours the gravy. The gravy's so hot it just bubbles. Pours it right on his fucking crotch. That's horrible.
Yeah.
This dude, he loved watching things burn.
Yeah.
He got a huge turn on by watching things burn.
He did.
And all you do is come over here and watch Sarah make a meatloaf. You can get off all night on that shit.
Oh, Sarah.
No, Sarah's a good cook.
Did you burn some meatloaf recently?
I can't comment on that. I'm too busy counting F words.
Oh, how
sorry.
many? What are we at?
A low number. I don't know, just a couple.
That's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
Sounds like a slang for syphilis.
Yeah.
I burned my meatloaf. Damn it.
So Sweatt managed to stay under the radar for so many years because he didn't fit the profile of a serial arsonist, which was typically a white, older man feeling wronged by society. So Sweatt's actually a black guy, and they weren't looking for black guys doing this kind of shit.
He's a weird looking fucker.
Yeah, he is.
You give him, for people that don't know what he looks like, you give him Mike Ditka's haircut, Tom Selleck's mustache, what else? Put on a black guy and give him Gene Hackman's tits, and you got Thomas Ball Sweatt.
Yes.
Oh, Gene Hackman, that was messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two people, they said him and his wife were dead for so long they were mummified.
Yeah.
They found another mummified body, but it was Nancy Pelosi just napping on the couch. What a mess.
Yeah.
That is just wild. Old mummified bodies, pills strewn about, catheter bags, oxygen tanks. Sounds like a backstage pass to the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. Their door was open. The front door was open. There was just nobody.
Like you said, there's pills all over the place. And
Yeah. Like nobody thought to check on the 95-year-old dementia patient.
I'm a piece of shit, I know I am, but I'd be over there all the time playing Rockstar with them. Okay, sign right here.
Right.
This looks like all my property. Rockstars don't ask questions, just sign.
Right.
You're rocking, G.
Or like you said, like show him all his movies and be like, What you think about that?
Oh, see, and he has Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
so
he's got Alzheimer's. Yeah.
make him see his movies now. This is fucking stupid.
This movie fucking sucks.
Now you know how we feel. Yes.
He was a good actor.
He was.
and I'm laughing,
Poor guy. He
but
was
I
good
should
in
not be.
Hoosiers and all. I guess he was an asshole to work with.
Yeah.
People did not like him.
Well, I saw an interview where Bill Murray, who's a known asshole, was like, Gene Hackman's hard to work with.
Oh.
Like, fuck you, Bill. I'm sure he is.
That's bad.
Yeah. If you got Bill Murray saying you're hard to work with.
It's like a Hitler telling somebody he's got hate issues.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Another weird thing about this fucker, Thomas Sweatt, he had this major foot fetish.
Yeah.
It's creepy as all get out. Like, he met a boxer named Tyrone. I don't know his last name at all. They met cruising down the Ave. And they would become real good friends. They'd watch Dynasty together. Because that's what straight guys do, I guess. Even though he wasn't. And then, of course, he had this fixation on him because Tyrone was living with his stepmom or something. His aunt. He was living with his aunt. So he broke into Tyrone's house, stole his shoes and some of his clothes, and he would sleep with Tyrone's shoes. He burned the aunt's house down. Of course, you got to fucking do that.
Of course, you got to build.
But he'd sleep with the shoes every night and sniff them and all that.
That's fucking weird.
All of me wishes it was those New Balance, like you were talking about, like how many episodes ago? All grass stained with huge clumps of dog shit on the bottom of it.
Yeah, my lawn mowing shoes.
Yes.
I'll bring him. I'll send it to him.
This is the guy that would get fired from like Foot Locker because he keeps using his dick as a shoehorn.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Thomas, we can't have you here. I'm sorry, man. Even his dad's shoes. He snuck in and he'd like steal his dad's shoes and sleep with them.
Like his own father's?
His own father's,
Okay.
yeah.
So he had problems from a young age then.
Imagine his dad. He like puts his shoes on. He's wearing it all day. It's full of fucking Thomas's, DNA. And he goes to take his shoes off, and it takes his sock with him and everything. What the fuck's wrong with these damn shoes? Or be the fire department guy, because he would stick around until the fire trucks would almost start to get situated.
Yeah.
And he's just going to town on himself watching this fire.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, aroused him. The danger, all of it.
Ugh. I just can't believe when you were saying how he's being interrogated. And
Yeah, they were showing him video of the fires that he had set, and he just whips it out right there in the interrogation
in front
room.
of everybody.
Yeah.
Like
Goes
it's a
to town on
natural.
himself, yep. So suspects like Sweatt could often be coaxed out of silence through feigned admiration. So these cops, they'd be interviewing him, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that was so cool and all these things. And then he'd be like, yeah, and he would brag about it and what he did. The judge that sentenced him, which was a U.S. District Judge, Deborah Chasanow, appeared to understand that Sweatt's sentencing felt incomplete due to the deaths that were not added to his sentence. And before she ordered him in prison for life, she noted that prosecutors had charged selected offenses, and she said that they were in no way a complete articulation of the crimes that were committed, nor the extent of the harm.
Yeah, this guy's all of it. I wish they had like a video of these interviews.
Yeah.
So I can see if he sounds as stupid as
Yeah.
he fucking looks.
Maybe look on Pornhub. It was just him jerking it.
Throwing lit matches in his nasty ass Jerry curl pubic hair.
Right.
It's just weird. He's dumb. It's like giving Forrest Gump matches.
Yeah.
For real. I do not
Yeah.
like this guy at all.
Right.
Some people you look into and you're like, okay, there's something mysterious or something. Like Ted Bundy was very smart and
Yeah,
conniving.
this guy doesn't have anything. The only reason he probably got away with it for so long is because they weren't looking for someone like him.
No. He makes me so mad.
Yeah.
He's a guy like you go to the cinema and you watch like a flashback cinema, a backdraft, and you can hear him just going to town on himself.
Breathing heavily in the back.
Backdraft's also a documentary of Nancy Pelosi crop dusting orphan kids. You want to see it on Netflix? Everything is on Netflix.
It is.
Okay, Coop. Let's just get this straight. He is a gay pyromaniac.
Yes.
That is 100% the definition of a flamer. Just
Absolutely.
not to say mean things, but that's a flamer.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that.
And he was turned on by house fires because they were big and burning, and everybody could see it from far away.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Joey Behar's camel toe in church.
Yeah.
Just big and burning.
And he was a black guy, so he probably had a big dong too. So
Oh, heck yes.
and STDs
He
from
nicknamed it Fire Stick. Fuck yes.
Amazon actually took that from him.
Oh, too bad he's locked up. He'd burn every
Yeah.
fucking Amazon warehouse down.
He could.
That's just hilarious when I think about the flamer thing. Like, oh my. Another thing that's crazy about Thomas Ball Sweatt. Well, we're going to call it. I don't know what his middle name is, but it can't be that.
Yeah, it'd be good if it was ball.
He would frequent barbershops because he had all these hot guys there, and he'd get his hair done. And he got a really shitty haircut one time. And guess what he did? He came back with his little jug of happiness and burned that fucking place down.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine him getting a worse haircut than he already had.
So all you Fantastic Sams out there, you better step up your game.
Yeah.
Because Thomas is coming out. Worst haircut ever. It was like the mid-'80s, 1988, and it was at a Bo-Rix. I know that. So I'm going to get sued. Yes. I wanted like little lightning strikes over the stripes on the side of the head.
Yeah.
And it was like fucking Michael J. Fox giving me an autograph on the side of my head. It was all over the place. Looked like my grandpa's EKG. I'm like, what is this, dude? That was not cool, man. Not good at all. What else about this piece of shit? Hulk Hogan had a better hairline than him.
Yeah, he did.
It was weird. And so you can mix two faces together and you're like, oh, that's what it makes. That's who that is.
Yeah.
This seriously is Danny Glover and Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon. What were their names? Murtaugh and I forgot the other guy. Riggs. I swear I got to count how many times in Lethal Weapon Danny Glover yells Riggs all the time.
Riggs! Yeah, it's all the time.
Riggs!
Will it Timmy Riggs?
That's weird.
You know, scientists did an AI representation of what I think it was Moses would have looked like. And you can pull it up on the internet. I swear to God, it looks exactly like the Hulkster.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Exactly like him. So, yeah.
Yes.
That hot dog skin of his. It's like, it looks like if you just poke him, like all of his organs will just like come out of his body.
Steam will bust out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes. What if his dick looks like a hot dog that was like over microwave? It's just all split as far down as possible.
Probably does. His daughter is pretty smoking hot, though.
Yeah, you need to be there for her.
Yeah.
To help out. I wonder if she can rip her shirt off the same way he does.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so.
Or do that to her thong right in front of Hawk. Oh, yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I love that guy. What else about this piece of shit, Thomas? Yes. This is all sexual to him, too. It was like everything was just sexually driven from this.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy who had syphilis of the throat repeatedly because he keeps falling for the help, my dick is on fire, can I put it out in your mouth trick.
Yeah, the whole thing was sexual. I don't think he necessarily wanted to kill anyone. I just think, he was sexually attracted to the men and the fire. So, yeah.
That's just wild. 350 fires.
Yeah, at least. At least.
If you're dating him and you ask to see a romantic comedy, he'll probably pop in like Firestarter with Drew Barrymore or something. You wonder if he's on good behavior. They'd reward him by letting him watch the California wildfires.
Yeah, for sure.
Make him have to sit on his hands.
He had never... The California wildfires, he had never been harder that whole time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Or like if he was at work and there was a huge grease fire, firefighters all show up, everything's going off, and firefighters are talking to the customers and the people working there. They're like, where's your manager? And they're like, oh, he's the guy in the car beating off right now watching the whole show.
Yeah, he had to go rub one out because the fire was just too much for him.
It is so crazy to even drive by and just, there's chaos, there's smoke, there's people, even though the places he's set on fire, and be like a fire chief, and you look over and you see a guy in a car just
going to town on himself.
Hammer town.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I've never known anybody like that.
Yeah.
Who was telling me the story about, was it a coffee place where these chicks dress up in bikinis?
Yeah.
Will you tell me about that?
Yeah, it's a place in Arizona called like, I don't know what it's called, like the Bean Barista or something. But yeah, all the girls they're all like really young girls in like bikinis. Yeah, and a guy pulled up and he was completely naked and he was just like beating it on. And apparently it wasn't the first time because the girl was like, you can't do that, you have to leave. And she recorded it on her phone, right?
Yep.
And posted it to social media, and then the guy kills himself. Yeah, he was shamed and he killed himself because it was like, went viral on fucking social media.
I would have like changed my name or made up a story. They're out of creamer there, so.
Yeah, he could have leaned into it, been like, well, they're fucking hot.
Yeah. No, he just, that would be
Yeah, he was married, he had a kid or two, and yeah, he just offed himself.
I would not kill myself. I would go in that fucking place 3 times a week with the shirt that has an arrow point down saying, "I've got your creamer here." No question.
Sugar-free bitch.
I've always wanted to get like camouflage biker shorts. Totally camouflage biker shorts. Sugar-free bitch. And then cut the middle part out so my dick is just loose, but put camouflage paint on my dick. So it's all loose. And then when people mention it, go, "You can't see that."
Yeah, it's like John Cena. You don't see nothing.
This is camouflage, you lying bitch. I guess. That'd be awesome. I don't know how we'd make it. Sarah, you got to figure out a way of making this. A piece of cloth that you can almost see through, but it still looks blurred. So you know how like you see on TV if somebody's naked running down the road and it looks like it's blurring it? And just drive around naked, but have the piece of cloth over your junk. So it looks a little blurred. But
have real life pixels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just blur it all out so you can still see the rosacea on the left testicle.
Exactly.
But I would love that.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Banging on this foot fetish, I bet you when he would go to the doctors and get his physical, the doctor would spend more time cleaning the fucking toe lint from his ball hair than investigating why his dick smells like gout. For real. I don't understand. I've never understood foot fetishes.
Yeah.
It is gross.
Yeah, they're it's definitely weird.
And I'm going to tell you something about, you ever heard of seed warts?
No.
Yeah, you can get them from like, I know a truck driver, and I'm not going to say any names, but I know a truck driver who, great guy, family man, nothing bad. I've got 2 stories from him. He told me, yeah, you go to these truck stops, through Indiana, Arizona, yada, yada, and you pay your $5, you can take a shower, but you got to wear he said, I forgot to bring my sandals in. I'm like,
no.
Why are you bringing sandals? And he goes, oh, because you have certain other disgusting truckers, and they have foot diseases and stuff, and you'll get it. And some are called seed warts, these warts on the bottom of your feet, and it looks like red, like blood, or like strawberry seeds. And it's gross, just fucking nasty.
Yeah.
So
in the military, we always wore sandals in the shower.
Really?
Yeah. I never caught anything, but that's probably because I had fucking sandals on.
Yes. Well, another great one is he's a married man. He's a happy guy, happily married, all that. He drove his rig up in some parking lot, and they got these lot lizards, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Nancy Pelosi's first and last job.
Yeah. Kamala's joining her next month, too.
Yes.
They're going on a world fucking tour.
They're trying to hide from Big Mike. You know what I mean? They've had enough of that. No, and so he's in the cab of his truck. He's doing something. Hears a knock on the door, and he looks out, and he said, I saw a kind of attractive lady, and she was wearing a short skirt. And I thought, okay, it's got to be one of these lot lizards. And he goes, I'm not going to cheat on my wife. So I rolled the window halfway down and just yelled out the window, I'd rather use my hand than get inside your nasty crotch. And this lady's voice, he goes, she sounded so nice. She goes, excuse me, sir, I just wonder if I can use your phone. I turn the light on, and it's this mother and daughter. Their car broke down, and she's trying to call her husband.
Oh, shit.
He opens up, I'd rather use my hand than get anywhere near your nasty crotch. Oh, dear.
Jeez.
Yes. And that's when I wanted to be a trucker. Yes. But wow. Seed warts. What other nasty? There's seed warts. There's plantar warts. You ever seen plantar warts?
Yeah, they're kind of like, they're like deep in the skin or something, right?
Yeah, and don't they have to like peel them out with like not pliers, tweezers?
Yeah.
Sarah, right?
Yeah, let me chime in.
Take
on
off your
this one.
socks. Let's see what we got here.
Put it up on the table.
I've never understood foot fetishes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense at all. Crazy. What else? This Thomas Sweatt. Oh my goodness, dude. This guy looked like those overly confident hikers you come across on the trail. The weird fuckers who make their own trail mix with the stuff they find in the woods. He's got like a bag full of wild blueberries, dandelion leaves, and squirrel shit. And he probably carries a small hand shovel when he goes to take a shit in the woods. And he's that weird guy that does like in front of people. He just gets a little bit off the trail.
Just enough to like sort of make it like,
Yes.
yeah.
And want to talk to you about the weather as he's pushing it out. Well, it's going to rain pretty soon. So if you guys want to head back. What a fucking gross weirdo.
Yeah.
They say people pack their fears when hiking. That's not true because I've never carried a picture of my uncle's dick when I'm foraging through the woods. No, actually, it actually means you pack what you think you can't live without. And that's why Hunter Biden always carries a crack pipe, 2 bags of Coke, a midget hooker, and a legally purchased firearm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got to have all those things. I'm the same, actually.
How the hell? How the hell did he? Where did he leave the laptop? He traded it in somewhere, or
Yeah, he like pawned it for crack.
And left everything on it.
There was something recently in the news about Trump being informed that he was in somewhere in South America with like a bunch of Secret Service agents, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to look into that and like pull his detail."
Really?
Yeah.
If I had a laptop, I would clear it.
Yeah. Clear your browsing history, man.
Yes, in a heartbeat. Got a guy I work with. His wife works at a daycare, and they get keyboards. They want keyboards, and they cut the wires off the keyboards, and then they bring it for the daycare kids so they can practice typing.
Okay, yeah.
And I told them, wear out the buttons that say GAYPORN. That would be so fucking great. Oh my goodness. And then pour like maple syrup on some of the buttons so they stick. Like, what the hell's going on here? I would love that.
That is our episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening. Please email us at listenbeforewegetcanceled@gmail.com. That is canceled with 2 L's. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of time spent. Sarah is great. We love to do whatever she tells us to do.
There is not a gun to our head, if you guys are wondering.
Yes. We are completely safe, sound, and alive.
Help us.
We will see you next time. I am Cooper.
I'm Scott.
I'm Sarah.
It took her a second because she had to put the fucking gun down. Yeah.
You make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.